Good day, Industrial Advisors listeners, and thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, please do so by clicking subscribe wherever you podcast. Click the like button and hit the bell if you want notifications of when we put up new content. Leave us a comment about anything we discuss here today or general comments about the show. Now, let's get into it.
Welcome to our Industrial Advisors podcast, our 5-minute Friday version. We are just wrapping up here at IAMC with our last podcast of the event, and it's been a great couple of days here. Let's talk a little bit about the highlights of the entire conference. Matt, what are some of the highlights you've had?
Yeah, well, first I will say, when I saw it on the agenda, Detroit didn't jump out at me, right? Boy, I'm surprised by the overall city, the overall condition of the city, the vibrancy of it. It's not the old Detroit, right? They definitely put a lot of infrastructure in. You went for a great run on their world-class river walk.
Yeah, Canada is right next door, which you can look at.
Looking south.
Yeah, looking south, which is great. I think, to your point, one of the best things about these conferences is just meeting new people and establishing new relationships. I went on a great run down on the river with a guy named Glenn Thomas, who is an Ironman, and we ran the 5K deal at the conference together yesterday, and we said, hey, let's go on a run the next morning. So great guy. He lives in Phoenix. He and his wife have 5 kids.
Wow.
So
busy
really,
guy.
really fun to meet people like that and develop relationships. And he's also really fast. So we got a great workout in.
That's great. Well, there's few that can keep up with you. So that's great. You found somebody. I'd say for me, moving back indoors into the conference, I love speakers. And so a couple of the keynotes that I got a lot out of was a gentleman by the name of Erik Weihenmayer. And he is the author of a book called No Barriers. And this guy was unbelievable. You guys should all Google him. He is, I think, 53 or 54 years old. He went blind at 14. Of course, he went up on the stage with a seeing eye dog, and he was a keynote. He climbed Mount Everest blind to the top, summited it, first person ever to do that blind. And he also did a 280-mile whitewater rafting trip down the Colorado River, one of the most brutal rivers to kayak in the world. This is a guy that, has no barriers, right? He makes you really quick think like how lucky we are and, how you could do anything.
Yeah, he said a couple things that I wrote down. So yeah, to your point, like incredibly inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And, a couple things that's, stood out to me is, he said adversity doesn't get in the way of winning. It's why you win. And he talked about how anything worthwhile in life that you do, if you look back on it, you've had to overcome some adversity, right? And so that is in life, that is in sports, that is in work, that is in whatever aspect that you want to talk about. And he obviously did it to the ultimate extreme, right? And,
that's right.
So it kind of puts things in perspective in the sense that, like, you may think something is hard or challenging. Like, what he did was really hard and challenging, and he didn't let anything get in his way. So the other thing that I thought was really, really cool about him is he was a great speaker, but when he talked about people that helped him,
mm-hmm.
he truly, truly had, like, gratitude for those people. He would get emotional as he would talk about them.
Yes.
And he talked about how you can't do things on your own. You have to have great teammates.
Got to have a team.
And you
what does he call it in mountain climbing with the line? Your lineman or
something like that.
Yeah.
But he was just like, the point was like, you have to have great teammates that you can rely on, and they have to be able to rely on you. So just that was my highlight. I think listening to him speak, and you walk away from these things with different ideas and stuff. And I walked away from that truly inspired.
Yeah, both of us. Well, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the room, right?
Yeah.
Including him. He was so passionate that.
Yeah.
And I loved, here's a guy that climbed Mount Everest blind, did a million things as a blind person. 80% of his speech was about other people,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Either his teammates or people that inspired him. And man, he teared up often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool.
The second speaker, this is my 5th time seeing him, Peter Zion. He's a geoglobal political scientist. His latest book is The End of the World is just the beginning, mapping the collapse of global civilization. This was a little more doom and gloom this time. The war and everything going on in the economy, there was a lot of, for the first time, I would say, some negative stuff in there. Certainly, U.S. is in a good position globally. It was the good news out of that, but there's a lot of unknowns coming. This was a different Peter that I saw this time.
Yeah, and I think he said somewhere along the way, if you want a new phone, get it now, because you're not going to be able to get it for the next 6 years or something like that.
And he even said if you want a BMW, they may not be manufacturing them next year in Germany. They don't have the natural resources to do it because of some of the implications of the war, being cut off on power and natural gas, and obviously the microchip thing. And they're in a world of hurt there. He said next to Ukraine, the most significant country that's been impacted by the war was Germany.
Yeah. I mean, it's just been a great conference. And,
Yep.
I went for the first time last year in Florida and was just blown away with like the amount of people that were here and the good people that collaborate. And so same thing this year. I think Detroit's really cool. And the speakers were great. And we'll wrap it up with our dinner tonight that we're hosting. And we'll do it again next year.
Sounds great. All right. Thanks, and happy 5 Minute Friday to everybody. Industrial Advisors tuning out.